What is up, guys? Part 2 of NASTRUCKS Step Notch. As you can see, I did a little more work off camera once again. I don't know if you guys really want to see me cutting and grinding a bunch, so I did some of the boring stuff. But now we're gonna get into actually getting weight jacks, the pads welded on the rear end, and get the top actual weight jack part with the pocket welded all up on the bottom of that top of the notch. I'll take you through a little bit of the kind of preliminary work we did to map everything out, and yeah, so let's get this, I'll get the overview going. So as you can see, there has been some more work done. Got my top bars are all welded in, and I also did the shock mount. I welded a bung through the bit of a spacer so I can slide a bolt in there, and then I just have it zip tied right now so I can kind of figure out location and shock angle coming off there. I figured the best spot for the bottom of it was just going to be right behind the 4-link, just so that when the 4-link came up it had the most resistance right there, and that also gave me enough room because these guys here on my bottom perch for the weight jack, those are gonna get dog-eared here so I can slide them all the way in. And then weight jack in the top pocket, that stuff's all gonna get sandwiched between the frame and the rear end housing. So that is gonna be how that's all gonna work. Come over here and show you guys a little bit more of the bungs I did with the spacer coming out there for the shock. I ended up, you guys have probably noticed already, but I ended up not doing any of the diamond reinforcements. I did one little plug weld on the backside here, but all this stuff's all nice and welded up final. If you look on the back side of this guy over here, it's all welded up on both the back there too, and then I put some gussets in there and then got the bottom of the frame kind of rolled up and sandwiched the step notch into the existing frame. So this has just been mock-up now. Made sure my fuel cell still fit in there. Just some basic other kind of stuff like that. So what's gonna happen now is just, I'm gonna dog-ear the corners on those, and then before I weld anything, I'm gonna set the pinion angle and make sure that's all good so I can get those spring pockets all nice and upright. But yeah, so that's what's going on. Another thing I wanna mention too is I thought I had a 12 bolt rear end lined up for this thing in my parts truck out back. This morning I went and measured the width of the rear end housing. It's actually an inch wider, so I can't use it. So looks like NASTRUCKS getting stuck with this pick and pull 10 bolt. So we'll see how long she lasts before she grenades and I have to rebuild it. But yeah, so let's get rolling on this thing. We'll get some stuff better mocked up so I can start welding some stuff up. Alrighty guys, so some new parts came in. Got my second spring. Ended up getting the bungs for the weight jacks, which I had marked out a while back. And then I also got the weight jack bolts. So I got some stuff here now to really get me rolling on getting the suspension stuff all in place. I also got over here, picked up some shock mounts. So I think I'm gonna either cut these shorter just so they tuck up a little bit closer, because those are sticking way over the rear end housing now. So but yeah, so I got some work to do. Let's get these weight jacks mounted and all welded in. So let's get on it. I got the top holes drilled out to the right size. I got those kind of positioned. All I gotta do now is drill the bottom sides out on both rails so they slide all the way through. Then I can weld them all up and get the weight jacks in. That way, I figured it'd be better to get the weight jacks on and get them in the pocket springs, and then I can get the coil kind of moved around where I want it with the spring pad. These guys, and then I can weld those on after these guys are already welded on. And so we're gonna get this thing welded up. I'm rushing because I got class in like a half hour or so, a little more than a half hour, and I have to leave soon. So let's see if we can get these things welded up before I leave. Alrighty guys, so it's been a little bit. I've done some work off camera. It's another day. I ended up not getting anything done after class. But test fit the bed, got the bed back off. So now basically what we're gonna be doing is getting the lower shock mounts on. I got one tacked up as it is already. We're gonna get the other one tacked up. Let me see if I got one here. Yeah, it's right here. So this is what I did. They got the little floaters in them. There was a lot more to them. I didn't want that much leverage off the frame, so I cut it off, reground the curve, and we're gonna get these tacked on. So the one's on, I'll go over and show you here, and we'll get the other one on. So that is the one mount, and then the upper that we already had done. So basically all I did is I took the mock-up shock, which is over on that side now, and I just kind of found the middle of the throw of the shock and just put it basically dead middle, and then kind of angled it, just made it look a little nicer, and then tacked it all on there after it was all bolted up and mocked up. So we're going to be doing that to the other side, and yeah, let's get to it. Now it is all tacked up. Just taking the angle on there too as well. I still have to do my panhard bar brackets. So off camera, I whipped up this. This is my panhard mount to the frame. So this will go right like so. And then I'll weld it on. There's a panhard bracket. The panhard will run down, and then I'll have to weld a bracket onto the rear end housing as well. But that thing's, there it is, right there. So that's a nice big old gusseted thing, because there's going to be a lot of pushing force on the panhard bar itself and on this piece. So I want it to make sure that it doesn't bend and it doesn't mess around with any of the other stuff, because that is the main piece that keeps the rear end square in car. So that is definitely very important. So show you a little bit of me welding this thing on there and mocking up panhard bar. So let's get to it. What is up, guys? It's another day. Got back from spending the weekend with my girlfriend, but while I was away, my dad reworked my design a little bit. As you can see, the new chunk is in. Panhard bar is all mocked up and needs to be final welded, but I'll do a quick deal to show you guys here. And then we're gonna get this rear end out, getting everything final welded that I had tacked onto the rear end housing, and get this thing shot with some color so it'll be all done. So let's get after it, guys. These were the revisions to the mount. That's just all tacked in. I will fish plate this side and get the bottom filled in there. But so that's the new bracket there. And then we ended up doing the heim joint on this side and then putting the bushing down on this side. And this is more or less just because it's how it worked out better. Eventually this side will get another 3/4 heim. But for now, the bushing, how we have it set up, will work just fine for it. So, and then obviously that guy's just in there from hawk up as a bolt right now. So we could get everything lined up. But yeah, I mean, it's perfect. It gets everything square. We had a quick test fit with the bed when I first got home. And rear end square, rear end fits bitchin'. Same gap on both sides of the fender wells. So I can't complain. Definitely got the rear end over this way a little bit more because how everything was just sitting there nice and mocked up. The rear end was still over a little bit just with how the springs were pushing everything over. So now everything's good. Now everything's solid and we can get this rear end all wrapped up. Alrighty guys, so rear end's out. All the rear suspension is pulled off, weight jacks, everything, because that's got to get painted. And the rear end housing is now stripped and up on the stand so I can get the welding done. Got my welding jacket on, so we'll get this thing all welded up hopefully tonight, and so we can get some black paint on it tomorrow. So let's get to some good old welding. Alrighty guys, so everything's really nice and all welded up. Got the rest of the spring purchase welded up, rest of shock towers. Got the gusset all welded in on the panhard bar bracket. So that's gonna be it for tonight. If I get a wild hair, I might do some more stuff off camera to get this thing buttoned up. But other than that, everything's done. Besides really quickly going through the diff, getting some oil in it, shooting some paint on this whole thing, frame 2, and then final assembly on the rear suspension and NASTRUCK. So we're almost there. We're on the downhill slope, that's for sure. Alrighty guys, went and did a little bit of shopping and got paint now. So I got the rear end all prepped. I ended up welding on a stud for the brake line T. So that'll be bolted on. But other than that, everything's ready to go. Did some test color of if I want to do the frame in semi or low gloss. I picked low gloss. And the rear end housing will be in a semi-gloss black. That should match the 4-link very nicely. So yeah, let's get to some spray painting and let's see if we can't get this thing all put back together. Alrighty guys, so everything has been sprayed. Still waiting for paint to dry. Had the jet heater going for a little while, but it's time for me to head to class, and we'll come back tonight. Hopefully everything will be all nice and dry, and we can start slapping this thing back together. Alrighty guys, new day. Paint is finally dry after 2 days of trying to cure with this terrible cold weather. I spent all of last night out here with the jet heater and the heat gun, trying to dry this thing to get it ready for reassembly so I can get this vlog done for you guys. But let's get after it. I mean, all we have to do is get everything reassembled. Wheels are already back on the rear end housing. Everything's painted, so let's get after it. There she is. She's all back together once again. And now she's actually a roller with suspension. This is awesome. Just the last stuff I gotta do that I won't be showing you is just getting all the washers and all the bolts and everything all put back on this thing. Getting the right bolts for the panhard bar. And then same thing with the shocks and tracking down the shock. But other than that, fuel cell's all in. Everything else is all good. So she's there now, that's for sure. So next on the list for things to do on NASTRUCK is gonna be getting the fuel system all plumbed. I have the fuel pump wired and everything. It just has to get lines in the regulator all plumbed in. And then it's gonna be carburetor, intake, and exhaust, and getting the driveline, and that's absolutely the last thing for NASTRUCK until she's ready to fire up and go for her first test drive. So I am beyond pumped, guys. We're on the downhill slope on NASTRUCK, that's for sure, and I can't wait for next time here on Screw Garage, man. Like and subscribe, as always. Keep up with NASTRUCK. Follow me on Instagram. Do what you got to do, but don't miss out on the progression of NASTRUCK. So, till next time, guys.